The people who joined the network marketing industry often have to listen a lot about it, especially and something that is not even in the favor of the industry. So why does this happen actually? Just because of the frauds. And why all these frauds has happened to some people? Because the people do not know about their rights. But you do not get his complaint because you think what people will say about you, or there was another reason that no legal action was taken for such frauds and the common man was not aware about such laws. But from 20th July 2020, the new Consumer Protection Act of 2019 has come into force. Well, we are bringing every video in both Hindi and English languages so that more and more people can take the right education. So if you wanted to watch this video in Hindi language, then you have two options. First, go to YouTube search bar and you can search for Tegonity.com, which is our official YouTube channel. And on Tegonity.com YouTube channel, you will see all the videos of network marketing in Hindi language. And second option is quite simple. Is that in the description box of this video you will find the link of the Hindi version of this video. So you can also see the Hindi version video from that link. The new law will replace the Consumer Protection Act 1986. Under the new law, consumers will get new rights for the first time. The consumers can register a case in any consumer courts right now. The new law provides for the Central Consumer Protection Authority for speedy settlements of the disputes. So now let's know in detail that how you will be benefited from this new law. Number one is, it is empowering consumers by giving them more rights. In this new law, the government has empowered the customers of the country by giving them more rights. Online and teleshopping companies have also been included in this law from the legislation. Now, committing any kind of fraud with consumers will prove to be very costly for any manufacturers or service providers, as consumers are given more rights in the law which they can use to punish the fraudulents harder. Number two is provision of jail and fine on misleading advertisements. So there is a provision of jail sentence and fine for misleading and misleading advertisements in respect of any product. Similarly, there is a provision of jail sentence and fine for adulteration of food items and making and selling harmful foods. And number three is, now anyone can register a case in the consumer court in the country. In accordance with the provision of the new Consumer Protection Act, now anyone can file the PIL in the consumer forum, the customer court. At the same time, consumers can register a case in any consumer court of the country. In addition, there is also provision between the parties to opt for arbitration by mutual consent and to set up a consumer arbitration cell for settlement of the disputes by arbitration. Number four, a case of up to ₹1 crore can be filed now. Now, under the new law, a matter of up to 1 crore can be filed in the consumer forum, while the matter between 1 crore to 10 crores will be heard in the State Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission. At the same time, the case of more than 10 crores will be heard in the National Consumer Disputed Redressal Commission. Now come to the fifth point, that is, consumers will have to be misled. After the new law comes into force in the country, misleading consumers by giving misleading advertisements can be costly for the manufacturers and service providers of any goods, because in the new consumer protection law there is a provision of fine and jail sentence for this. Chapter 7 of the Consumer Protection Act 2019, which has come into shape after nearly 34 years, has a provision for crime and punishment. It states that if a manufacturer or a service provider gives false or misleading advertisements, it can be punishable with imprisonment for 2 years and a fine of up to 10 lakhs. This provision of punishment is for the first time found guilty of misleading and false advertisement, whereas if found guilty the next time, there is a provision of imprisonment for 5 years and fine up to ₹50 lakhs. Now come to the sixth point, that the new law took special care of the interest of the customers. Kolkata High Court advocate Disha Shukla said after the implementation of the new law, all celebrities including actors, actresses of the film industry will definitely check the quality of the product before contracting to advertise a company's product, because they will also be charged for misleading advertising. Number 7 is jail and fine even for not following instructions. If someone does not follow the directions of the central authority using section 20 or 21 of the new Consumer Protection Act, he can be sentenced to 6 months in jail or a fine for up to rupees 20 lakhs or both. The law provides a strict punishment for those who make and sell adulterated and dangerous goods. If there is no harm to the customers with such a product in such a situation, there is a provision of a jail term of up to 6 months and a fine of up to 1 lakh rupees. There is a provision for imprisonment of up to 1 year and a fine of up to 3 lakhs rupees if a consumer suffers from adulterated goods but do not suffer serious harm. But when such an item causes serious harm to the customer or the consumer, then there is a provision of imprisonment for 7 years and fine up to 5 lakh rupees. Life can be inflicted on the death of a consumer due to the adulteration. According to the new consumer protection law, if the consumer dies due to the adulteration and dangerous goods, then the person who makes or sells such items will be sentenced to at least 7 years in jail, but it can be extended to life imprisonment also. The fine will not be less than rupees 10 lakhs. This was very much discussed last month because it will empower consumers and help them in protecting their rights through its various notified rules and provisions. The old act provided for a 3-tier consumer dispute redressal machinery at the National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, which we'll call it as. It works for state and district levels. Now let's dive deep on some points and take a look how this new Consumer Protection Act 2019 is beneficial for those who are working in the network marketing industry. The Consumer Protection Act 2019 establishes the Central Consumer Protection Authority, that is CCPA, whose prime objective will be to promote, protect and enforce the rights of consumers. It is also empowered to conduct investigations into violations of consumer rights and institute complaints and prosecution, and to order recall of unsafe goods and services, order discontinuance of unfair trade practices and misleading advertisements, impose penalties on manufacturers, endorsers, publishers of misleading advertisements. So now we'll talk about the rules on e-commerce and unfair trade practices. The government will notify the Consumer Protection Rule 2020 under the Act, whose broad provisions are: e-commerce entities are required to provide information to consumers related to return, refund, exchange, warranty and guarantee, delivery and shipment, modes of payment, grievance redressal mechanisms, payment methods, security of payment method, chargeback options and country of origin. These are necessary for enabling the consumer to make an informed decision at the pre-purchase stage. These platforms will have to acknowledge the receipt of any consumer complaint within 48 hours and redress the complaints within 1 month from the date of the receipt. They will also have to appoint a grievance officer for the consumer grievance redressal. The Consumer Protection E-commerce Rule 2020 are mandatory and are not advisories, and sellers cannot refuse to take back goods or withdraw services or refuse refunds if such goods or services are defective, deficient, delivered late, or if they do not meet the description on the platform. The rules also prohibit the e-commerce companies from manipulating the price of the goods and services to gain unreasonable profit through unjustified prices. A manufacturer or product service provider or product seller will be held responsible to compensate for injury or the damages caused by defective products or deficiency in services. Basis for product liability action is also included in the new Consumer Protection Act 2019. It may liable for manufacturing defects, design defect, deviation from manufacturing specification, not conforming to express warranty, failing to contain adequate instructions for correct use, service provided faulty or imperfect or deficient. So, with action to this law, if someone has also delivered some defective products or services to you, then you can now launch a complaint against all of them. Another provision for punishment of manufacturers or sales of adulterated or spurious goods is also provisioned in this new Consumer Protection Act law. In case of the new conviction, a competent court may suspend any license issued to the person for a particular period of time of up to 2 years, and in case of second and subsequent conviction may cancel the license permanently. An alternate dispute resolution mechanism of mediation has been also improvised in this new law. A complaint will be referred by a consumer commission for mediation wherever scope for early settlement exists and parties agreed for it. The mediation will be held in the mediation cells, which will be established under the aegis of the Consumer Commission. There will be no appeal against the settlement through mediation, and that has to be noted priorly. Simplification of the consumer dispute adjudication process has been also improvised in the new law, as empowering the state and district commissions to review their own orders, enabling a consumer to file complaints electronically and in consumer commissions that they have jurisdiction over the place of his residence. Video conferencing for hearing and deemed admissibility of complaints if the question of the admissibility is not decided within the specific period of 21 days. You must have heard that the prevention is better than cure, means it is good to be careful beforehand. The government has made the laws strict, but we will suggest you to use your mind before buying anything and understand this. Is the person in front of you is fooling you? See, a person who belongs to the middle class is already dealing with his daily problems. In case if any fraudulent has happened to you, then you have to take help of the law to fight it. And this process extremely takes your time and money both, and it wasted it. So stay alert, be careful and know your rights. And in the end, we have a suggestion for you that if you want, then you can join us on our social media handles, whatever you use, because there you will always get some new updates. And the link of our all social media handles are available in the description box of this video. And if you have some questions that are still unanswered, then feel free to ask us by commenting below in the description box. So if you like this video and the information, then hit the like button and do share this video with everyone so that more and more people will come to know about their rights. Soon we'll meet you again with a new topic, so subscribe to the channel and tap to the bell icon so that you will not going to miss very next upload. So this is Divya from Tegonity Academy. See you soon in a new episode. Till then, goodbye. Jai Hind.